A lot of people are interested on a fight between the Megalodon and the Lyviathan, two apex predators which just happen to have coexisted during the same time frame. People discussed these fights in forums, and YouTubers even made videos about who will win in a fight. Unfortunately, many people start making up lies and misconceptions about these two animals, so I'm going to discuss about some of these misconceptions, especially those made by fanboys of Megalodon and fanboys of Lyviathan. Note that I'm going to refer to female Megalodons and male Lyviathans because they are the larger sex in their own species. But before we get into the video, please support this channel by subscribing as that would help me out a lot. But anyways, let's get into the video. So many people think that Megalodons outsize the Lyviathans. I've even seen people claiming it was around 80 feet and weighs 100 tons. This is simply not true, even if we're assuming that we're talking about a female Megalodon. First of all, Megalodons most likely did not grow up to 80 feet. While there are some research which shows that Megalodons can grow up to 80 feet, most other researchers agree that Megalodons typically grow around 50 feet, with 60 feet being a higher estimate. Meanwhile, Megalodons do not weigh 100 tons. Females can weigh up to around 65 tons. Still heavy, but not as much as these Meg fanboys claim. Thus, fans of Megalodon shouldn't be confident that this fight would be incredibly one-sided. People base this claim on the top speed of a great white shark. Firstly, we have to consider that top speed doesn't mean normal speed. Great whites are only able to swim at such speeds in short bursts, and normally they would cruise at much lower speeds. If we assume a Megalodon is around 50 tons, it would actually cruise at only about 18 km per hour. While unfortunately I wasn't able to find a Megalodon's top speed, I can definitely say for sure that Megalodons don't normally cruise at 56 km per hour. Before we discuss about this, we first have to know the term EQ, or encephalization quotient. This measures how big or small an animal's brain is compared to other animals of similar sizes. Despite having several flaws, most people use it as a rough estimate of animal intelligence. Now that we've cleared up the definition of encephalization quotient, let's talk about the EQ of the Megalodon and the Lyviathan. Since we don't know the actual EQ of both animals, we are going to use the EQ of living animals which are quite similar to these two animals. Assuming that the Megalodon versus Lyviathan fight will be between a female Meg and a bull Lyviathan, we are going to use a great white shark's EQ as a substitute of the Megalodon's EQ, and use a bull sperm whale's EQ as a substitute of the bull Lyviathan's EQ. Note that I specifically use a bull sperm whale's EQ to substitute the bull Lyviathan's EQ. This is because female and male sperm whales have different EQs, and since we are talking about a bull Lyviathan, hence we have to use a bull sperm whale's EQ. That being said, a male sperm whale's EQ is around 0.56, while a great white shark's EQ is around 0.41. See, it isn't too far off. Additionally, as much as intelligence is highly important, it isn't everything. For example, great white sharks are still fully capable of hunting dolphins, which have the EQ of 6.54. Even though this isn't a fair representation since they vastly differ in size, it definitely shows that animals with lower EQ are very well capable of killing others with higher EQ. In conclusion, the Lyviathan is so smart while the Meg is primitive argument doesn't hold too much water. Paleontologists supporting the idea that the bird was a predator point at some of its bodily characteristics. Firstly, some of its morphological features, such as its huge head, beak and overall sizable body, made paleontologists believe that it hunted prey such as the Eocene horse Eohippus. Additionally, paleontologists discovered that its jaw-closing musculature was extremely huge, making it seemingly overbuilt for a herbivorous diet, such as crushing nuts or seeds. Thus, paleontologists believed that the bird's powerful beak was more suited for killing prey or cracking open bones to extract marrow. On the other hand, paleontologists supporting the idea that Gasterny was a herbivorous bird argue that its huge legs make it unsuited for hunting since they show that the bird's speed was not as fast as the required speed needed to catch a fast-moving prey during its time, such as the Leptictidium. Additionally, they notice that the absence of predatorial features, such as a prominent hooked beak or hooked talons on their feet, all of which are important for predatory birds. The hooked beak would allow the Gasterny to rip flesh easily.